President Joe Biden met with Kevin McCarthy to discuss the debt ceiling negotiation, the fact that the Republican Party is using the need to raise the debt ceiling as a chance to leverage their way into spending cuts. Here from NBC News, President Joe Biden met privately on Wednesday with House Speaker Kevin McCarthy for more than an hour, their first in-person meeting since the Republican won the gavel. There were no signs of a breakthrough between the Democratic president and Republican speaker on the most consequential item on their mutual to-do list, preventing a debt ceiling breach and avoiding an economically calamitous default later this year. And it really would be disastrous if the Republican Party continues to prevent the raising of the debt ceiling, which again is just allowing us as a country to follow through on our financial obligations, paying our bills essentially, not authorizing new spending. The new spending negotiation, if you want to cut spending, that needs to happen when you're deciding on spending. And they're going through that debacle, that negotiation, when it's just time to pay the bills on things we've already spent. Here's Biden addressing this meeting.
In ways different than we have, in my humble opinion. It's been the greatest honor of my life to serve this country. I know I don't look it, but I've done it for a few years. And a lot of good folks, not so good folks, great folks, and a lot of folks better than me. Let's just sort of kind of join hands again a little bit. Let's start treating each other with respect. That's what Kevin and I are going to do. Not a joke. We had a good meeting yesterday. I think we got to do it across the board. Doesn't mean we're going to agree and fight like hell, but let's treat each other with respect.
So, they had a good meeting, he says. And to the holding hands, getting along, respect, it's important that we recognize the humanity and value of every person, no matter how much we disagree. Sometimes, though, I think Biden and others who kind of have this, come on guys, can't we just get along attitude, don't recognize as they should why the disagreement, why the division is there. Part of it is the media ecosystems we have and the introduction of social media into our political environment and all that is a little bit more artificial, but some of it really matters and we have real disagreements. And so I think that needs to be addressed too. How do we recognize the value of everyone, and which absolutely should be done, is absolutely necessary, and learn to come to some sort of reasonable disagreement about fundamental differences that we have, if that makes sense. Because there's a difference between disagreeing and disagreeing on such fundamental things that it's hard to get along, as he would say, which I think would be great, but it's a little bit more complicated than just, let's just all have a good old time. And then here's Kevin McCarthy talking about this meeting.
Are growing, shrinking? Where would you place them?
Look, I think our first meeting was a good meeting. I don't want to put it in any false perspectives. So we both have different perspectives on this, but I thought this was a good meeting. We promised we would continue the conversation. We'll see if we can get there. I think at the end of the day, we can find common ground. I really do.
Okay. Interesting. And then we'll look at one other clip here as well.
We've got 5 more months. I've just walked out having an hour conversation with this president that I tell you in perspective was a good conversation. No agreements, no promises, except we will continue this conversation. I want to continue it on behalf of the American people, on behalf of the parents, on behalf of every taxpayer here, that we put ourselves on a trajectory that makes America stronger, secure, and balanced.
Oh, man. Kevin McCarthy is similar to Mike Pence to me in the way that he's just a politician made in a politician factory where there's just nothing genuine there. That's the energy I pick up on. But good that they're in conversation, even though all the tactics by Republicans in this situation bother me to no end. If they can come to an agreement, that's better than them not. And so even if that means there's some concession, as long as it's not on crucial things like entitlements and Biden has to do some optical concession to get the debt ceiling raised. What's necessary is necessary. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show hours before all the clips are uploaded to YouTube, plus get the full bonus show every single Saturday, you can do so by going to patreon.com/Luke Beasley. That's patreon.com/Luke Beasley. Link in the description.